Canelo Alvarez gets asked about fighting Demetrius Andrade. Canelo says that Andrade is too boring. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Also, shout out to ESPN Plus. I'm an affiliate. It helps the channel if you use my link. It's in the description of all of my videos. And there's some upcoming fights coming up, some UFC fights and whatnot. Now, I want to talk about Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had a conference call. He's moving up to light heavyweight to face champion Sergey Kovalev. And a reporter asked him about Andrade. This is what he says. Canelo says about Andrade. Andrade, he hasn't fought with anyone. He hasn't fought against anybody. And he's also boring. Very boring. Maybe he's a good fighter, but he's a boring fighter. At the end of the day, when there's a boring fight, people are going to blame me. I like fights where there's going to be action, where the people can enjoy a good show. That's very important for me. But also, he doesn't represent a challenge for me because he hasn't fought against anybody. That's from Canelo Alvarez. Now, listen, new media. We got to talk about it, people. Smash the like button. This is a pure cop-out and really an excuse to avoid or duck Demetrius Andrade. That's not good enough. You know, at the end of the day, there's different styles in boxing. Some styles are going to be craftier, trickier. But at the end of the day, it's all about, can you beat that style? So I don't prefer to hear an elite fighter like Canelo and his only comeback to fighting a champion is he's boring, very boring. This is what they constantly do in the media to avoid fights, you know? And I notice that black fighters seem to get it all the time, is like, no matter what, they're boring. I've seen Andrade fights, like his fight with Willie Nelson. That wasn't boring. He was very aggressive in that fight. And the thing is, you have to have the skill set or a certain pedal to the metal type of style where you're going to pull out different elements of Andrade's game. In my opinion, Andrade is a complete fighter, and he uses the tools. He has a lot of tools, but he uses what's necessary for that fight. So if you make it a dog fight and you force him to fight, then I don't believe in that. Like, same thing with Mayweather. People try to say Mayweather's boring and all this bullshit. Cotto came to fight. He was throwing punches and he had veteran experience, etc. Maidana came to fight. But if you put up a dud like Pacquiao and you're thinking too much, or you're remembering how Juan Manuel Marquez knocked you out and he's too quick and you're getting countered and stuff, and then you kind of get gun shy and fall back on the shoulder excuse, then of course the fight's not going to be as enthralling or scintillating. But that's, to me, it's a weak excuse. I don't want to hear about Crawford or whoever is boring, because it's just too weak and it's too elementary. The bottom line is Canelo Alvarez this year to ESPN Deportes said he wanted to unify the division. That means no matter who has the belt, you have to, if you want to be undisputed, you have to fight who has the belt. You don't have the luxury of saying, hey, I like this guy. And by doing this, Canelo doesn't understand that he's actually making himself, he's kind of telling on himself. If you think about it, he's telling you what he doesn't want to have to do. He's like, I like the fights that are fun and that are going to be a good show. Yeah, because you do better with that style. If you put Canelo in with the James Kirkland, you see it was an electric performance. So he's the one getting to showcase his skill set, and it makes him look good in the process, because now everyone's like, oh yeah, Canelo got a knockout in Texas. He knocked James Kirkland the fuck out. But the guys like Trout, Mayweather, Edeslandi Lara, and of course Andrade, that would pose a different threat and give him different looks, he knows he's going to have to work at a different pace, and he's not going to look that way. So he's really just telling on himself. You don't want to fight these guys. Canelo's team also in the past came out and just outright said, we don't want to fight Willie Monroe, when Willie Monroe Jr. was, relevant and coming off a good win, I think on Canelo's undercard or something. They said they didn't want to fight him. You know why? Because Canelo has problems with speed, movers, and people who are like boxers and gonna give him that complete look. So he'd prefer to fight James Kirkland or Amir Khan. Amir Khan has speed, but he don't have durability, and you know that's all it took. One punch did Amir Khan in. But Andrade, we've never seen him knocked out or destroyed with one punch and he couldn't get back. So Canelo's really telling on himself here, and I think it's a bad look, because he even said maybe he's a good fighter, but he's boring, very boring. That stuff don't work for anymore. This is the year of new media. If he's boring, then rid the boxing world of him having a belt, and that's by beating him. You know, nobody wants to hear just, oh, this guy's boring, because to me, I find it boring when two guys don't show separation, like Francisco Vargas, Orlando Salido. It was cool at first, but it was the whole fight was the same cadence and nobody making an adjustment. To me, that gets boring because it becomes too repetitious. And styles make fights. You have different styles, and if both guys bring it, or both girls, whoever's fighting, bring it with their styles, then that can gel well. Canelo, it looks like he does not want to look bad, and he knows fighting Andrade. Andrade is taller, rangier, southpaw. He can use his feet. He can fight in the pocket. He's just going to give Canelo different looks. So this is really an excuse to duck. That's just what it is. You prefer not to fight his style because you prefer to look sensational. So you'd rather fight Kovalev or Triple G with no defense. You know, you don't want to fight some guy who has equal or better skills to you, especially with speed and footwork and different stuff like that, because it's going to make you work for it. Plus, they say Canelo has knee issues, so he don't want to have to track you down, and he doesn't have to. He wants you to come straight to him and shit like that. But this is boxing, baby. It's like blood sports, like Mortal Kombat. It's like the Kumite. You got to fight all the styles. The Kumite, they had people from Africa, Japan, France, Belgium, USA. You know, they had people from everywhere, all walks of life, different styles, just like mixed martial arts. If Conor's a striker and you're a great wrestler, then you got to make it your fight. You can't say, oh, I don't want to fight this guy because he has boring wrestling. You know, Conor McGregor can. So it's funny in boxing that people try to do this. You know, to me, I would much prefer to see a fight where it's a stand-up action, as opposed to guys wrestling around on the ground and jiu-jitsu. But at the end of the day, it's mixed martial arts, so you got to do what you got to do to win. You know what I mean? You don't hear people say, Conor McGregor or something, say, I'm not fighting Chad Mendez because he's a boring wrestler, and all he's going to do is try to get me on the mat and, you know, hump me and pin me and shit like that. It's just, you got to deal with whatever style. Boxing is no different. You know, if Floyd's fighting Emmanuel Augustus, you got to fight that drunken monkey style, whether you like it or, you know, you think it looks goofy or whatever. So this is a poor excuse from Canelo, just calling Andrade boring. And Andrade was also disrespecting Canelo. Years ago, he called him a bitch. After his fight, he called him out and said, where are your cojones? So what happened to the Mexican pride and stuff like that? The man's trying to challenge your manhood and your balls as a fighter to see if you'll step up to the plate, and then you just relegate him to boring. So to me, this is just Canelo telling on himself that he doesn't want to fight Andrade because he knows Andrade is going to be a difficult fight. He just told you. He says he's boring, very, very boring. Maybe he's a good fighter, but he's boring and he ain't fought no one. He's trying to fight you. All this is a cop-out. You're a great fighter and he's trying to fight you. Golovkin's a good fighter and he's trying to fight him. So that's the reality of it. You know, if you don't think he's fought no one, then you step up. He's a champion. You're a champion. That's a unification. See, it's never a problem when other people want to get work, like Amir Khan. You didn't say Amir Khan was boring or he's not durable. You tried your best to sell a fight, right? What about Rocky Fielding? That was boring. You know, just watching Canelo pummel a guy and the guy have no knowledge of what to do or fight back. To me, that's boring. Andrade would be a good fight because Andrade can scrap and Canelo can scrap. So more excuses. This is what they constantly do. old media. This is what they do with black fighters, say they're boring and running, you know, but then rid the world of him, you know, fight him. It's that simple. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.